we will talk about the connection between Elul and the Geulah. So we'll be skipping around a little bit on the top of the from the top of the page over here. Chodesh Elul, the month of Elul, Chodesh Achan, the Chodesh Hashanah, which is the final months of the year. Chodesh HaTshuva is the month of Tshuva. Chodesh HaChed, it's the month of an accounting for the entire year. To repair and complete and fulfill all matters of the avodah of the entire year. Let's skip over to the next paragraph. Asher Zohi Gam Hachona Masima. This is also an appropriate preparation. L'klolos ha'avodah, the Shana haba leinu, v'alchol Yisrael l'toiva l'bracha, for the year that is coming upon us, for good and for blessing. U'ka'amr, like we said before, this idea begins already from Shabbos Mevarchim, the month of Elul. So even though we're learning about the month of Elul, it's not yet Elul, the Rebbe says it began already yesterday. So don't worry, we're learning about Elul. It's the appropriate time now to do so. The Elul, that then the day of Shabbos Mevarchim Elul, we're giving the bracha and the empowerment for the matters of avodah of the month of Elul. Let's skip over to Ois Gimel towards the bottom of the page. The Proteus Yoser, more specifically, Isa Beswarim, it's brought down as Svarim, Rosh Tevis, the Elul, in the Rosh Tevis of Elul. Now the Rebbe says parenthetically, one should not take Rosh Tevis lightly. Rosh Tevis is not something that can be easily poo-pooed or dismissed. But Echad Meifani Alimud B'Torah, Rosh Tevis is considered one of the manners, one of the types of ways how one learns things in Torah. Like we find many things that are derived from Rosh Tevis. So all matters of our service is hinted in the Rosh Tevis of El. First thing is Elul is Rosh Tevis in El Yodiv Samtilach. El is the Rosh Tevis, where it says concerning a person that killed someone by mistakes. It says it happened to his hand, it just occurred, and then I will place for you a city of refuge. The Koyal in Torah, Divri Torah Koyaltin, it's referring to Torah as it's brought down. Chazal say that the words of Torah save and are a city of refuge for a person. Elul is Rosh Tevis, Anila Doidi V'Doidi Li. That's ani I to my beloved is to me. Kesher v'chibur ani im doidi. It's a connection and a bond and the joining between I with my beloved. Who is I and my beloved? I and my beloved is referring to Hakadosh Baruch Hu Hashem, which means inyan hatfila, the idea of davening. Davening is the idea of this concept of the following level of avoid. Avoid, it's in the categories of the three pillars upon which the world stands on. It's called Torah Avoid G'mas Chasad. It's also the idea of Shuva. That his heart should be close to his beloved with Shuva. And then his beloved, in other words, Hashem is close to receive his tshuva out of love. So therefore, we find that the Rosh Tevis, in one Rosh Tevis of Elul, it's hinted both the avodah of davening and the avodah of tshuva. Elul is also Rosh Tevis, Ish l're'ehu matanos l'yonim. It says in Gil's Esther about one of the ways how we celebrate and mark the idea of Purim is a man to his fellow and gifts to the poor. So in other words, El is something that signifies the third of the three lines, Gemil Chasadim, doing acts of kindness. Nimtza comes out, Tevis the El, Merumezes, Klolos, Ha'avoida, a Gimel Akav, the Torah, Avodah, which is Tefillah, Gnos Chasadim. In the Rosh Tevis of El is hinted the general Avodah in the 3 lines of Torah, Avodah, Tefillah, and doing acts of kindness. Sha'aleim Oilam Oimed, that upon them the world stands. Oilam Kayam, and the world exists. And also Tshuva is hinted in the Rosh Tevis of Elul. The foundation and the introduction to all matters of our service. All of this, in addition to this, and here's the part that connects with, the Geulah, Elul, Rosh Tevis, Ashira LaHashem, Vayomru Leimer. It says in Oz Yashir, we say, I will sing to Hashem, and they said, saying. Or there's a different way of making the Rosh Tevis, LaHashem, Vayomru Leimer Ashira. That's flipped around the Rosh Tevis. It's Lamed Vav, Lamed Aleph. To Hashem, and they said to saying, I will sing. What is it referring to? It's referring to Shiras Hayam. It's referring to the song on the sea. In this song is hinted also the Shira of Mashiach's times, of the future time. Shir Chodesh, a new song. Maimer Hazal to Chazal say, Oz Yashir, then they will sing. Shar Lainamar Ala Yashir, Lashon Asir. It doesn't say Oz Shar, then he sang, or then they, Klal Yisrael, sang, but it says Oz Yashir, then they will sing. So that hints in the future that when Mashiach comes, we will all sing, even those that are passed away will rise and sing again. So therefore, in this Rosh Tevis, we have an indication also of the Geulah. Nimtzo Rosh Tevis El. The rumors in this Rosh Tevis of El is hinted. By Saf al Torah avoiding Sadim and Shuv, in addition to Torah avoiding Sadim and repentance, Gam Inyan HaGeulah. Also the idea of the redemption, Tachlis Ashlei the ultimate perfection of all our actions in our service in Torah and Avodah, Chasadim and Shuv. So now he's going to elaborate on the idea of Geulah. By the way, part of the Sicha, maybe we're going to leave it for Wednesday for our Simcha B'Tachon Shir, is going to focus on the idea that it's song. Shira LaHashem, it's an idea of song. Song has to do with joy. That part of Sicha we're most probably going to learn on Wednesday. If we get Aj, Inyan HaGeulah, the idea of the redemption is Loidak Tachlis Ashleimus L'Maseinu V'Yiseinu. It's not just that the ultimate purpose, the goal. What is the purpose? What's the goal that we are trying to reach through the avodah of through the idea of Geulah, through our avodas to reach Geulah? Elagam chelik ma'avodah atz. The idea of Geulah is part of our service itself. What does it mean? It's part of our service. What are we doing? What type of avodah do we have to do? That's called a Geulah avodah. So he says, first and foremost, the belief in the coming of Mashiach and awaiting his coming. This idea of believing in the coming of Mashiach, and not just believing that he's going to come, but awaiting and looking forward to his coming, that's a foundation of our belief. Like the ruling of the Rambam, whoever doesn't believe in King Mashiach, or someone that doesn't await his coming. So it's not just he doesn't believe. He could believe Mashiach, but he doesn't await his coming. Not only is he denying all the other prophets that we know in Sifrei Tanakh, it speaks a lot about the Geulah, it speaks a lot about Mashiach. All the Sfarim of the Nevi'im are filled with this topic of the Geulah. But rather, Ella B'Torah of Moshe Rabbeinu, someone that doesn't believe in Mashiach or doesn't await his coming, he is denying the Torah and Moshe Rabbeinu as well. In other words, he's going against the Chamisha Chumshei Torah. including also and the demand and the crying out. Mashiach that came to take from me out, the Mashiach that came should come immediately. This is also part of the avoida. The avoida is not just believing and not just awaiting is coming, but requesting and demanding and crying out. We see this when we look in our siddur. You open up the siddur and we look in Shemoneh Esrei, kafish Mevarchim etfilos hamida gimel pamim b'chol yom, like we request in the davening of Shemoneh Esrei 3 times a day. Elul Shabbos as we Yom Tovim, including Shabbos and Yom Tov, when usually many of the requests that during the week we would ordinarily not daven for during Shabbos and Yom Tov, but this we daven on Shabbos and Yom Tov also. Let our eyes see when you return to Tzion. But in the tefillah of Shemoneh Esrei, that we say in the days of the week. So still in all, im kibi etzem shayeches yafla Shabbos v'Yom Tov, though really even the weekday prayers have to do with Shabbos and Yom Tov. In other words, all the requests, even those that we leave out, are shayach and Shabbos and Yom Tov. Sharei min adina yeroi l'tzaken gam Shabbos v'Yom Tov kol berachos ha'emtzoyes, that from the letter of the law, it would have been appropriate to also have all the brachos in Shemoneh Esrei on Shabbos and Yom Tov also. But the reason is because the honor of Shabbos and Yom Tov, the Chacham did not make a person have to ask all these brachas. So during the weekday Shemoneh Esrei Makdimim, we say even before we say so we say, David, the sprout of David, your servant, you should quickly make grow. Because your salvation, we hope the entire day we're busy and looking forward and looking out the window like a child awaiting his parent to come home. We're looking out the window to see when Mashiach is coming. Through this very hope, through looking forward, that itself brings the Geulah and the coming of Mashiach closer by our looking forward and hoping and waiting and crying out, like spoken about many times at length. So the Rebbe continues, an additional, and this is also primary and core, so that our avoid in all matters of Torah and its mitzvahs should be appropriate. The person that does the avodah has to be in a state of redemption. He has to be in a state of redemption of all matters that bother and confuse and disrupt. Similar to what the Chazal say, the Torah was only given to those that were consuming the man in the midbar. What's the idea behind it is that those that were busy in the midbar to consume the man, they were like people sitting in yeshiva. They were like yeshiva bachrim or koil like. They don't have to worry about other things. They can be completely focused on one thing, on the study of Torah. That those that were eating the man did not have any bothers and burdens from worldly matters. Since they're eating, and their eating does not just mean their literal food, what they consumed and ate and digested, but also all their needs. Clothing, shelter, all of these things were prepared and they didn't have to worry about it whatsoever. It was lechem min hashamayim, it was bread from heaven, she'ein bo psoilos chulu, that has no waste product to it. It was totally pure. Also, your clothes did not fall apart from upon you. Why was that? Because the Ananya covered acted, the clouds of glory acted like a washing machine and a dry cleaners, and they pressed them. Therefore, When a Yid knows and thinks and meditates into the fact that the state of the Geulah is only for a short moment. Take it from Yad Mamish Tova Yagula Mitis Vashlema, and immediately will come the true and complete redemption. So then, Hare Kol HaLomes Vastadim, the Cheshkas HaGolas, all the concealments and coverings of the darkness of Golas, Einam Mafriim Loilavid Avidosim Mitochsim Chavatul Levov, they do not disturb it from doing his service out of joy and gladness of heart. Liyoisam Dovers Mani Bilvad, because they are only a temporary thing. And this is similar in halacha. It says it says in halacha that a change that is only it's going to come apart and it's going to return to its natural state is not considered a change. This has different halachic ramifications. So therefore, the change of Golus is not a reality because it's going to come apart. The Golus is going to fall apart. Therefore, the person's avodah could be in a manner of redemption, similar to the future redemption, and similar to what it says, your world you will see in your life, which means it says that tzaddikim, they are able to see their world, meaning the world to come, they will benefit from now in the present, in their lifetime. So the Rebbe says every Yid can live as if he is in a Geulah state, even now, and he doesn't look at matters of Golus to be as disruptive and so on. This idea comes to its expression in the reciting of the Song of the Sea, like we said before, the Shiras Hayam is hinted, the song that we'll say when Mashiach comes, that's why it says, Oz Yashir, then in the future they will sing. But Tfilas Kol Yom, this is hinted in the Tfilah of Kol Yom V'Yom. Shebachol Yom V'Yom, Omer Yehudi B'Tfilas Lifnei Melech Malchei Amlachim Kadosh Baruch Hu, every single day. A Yid says in his davening before the King of Kings Hashem, Sharei Av She'ikar Tfilah Tfilas Hamida, though the core and main part of davening is a davening of Shemoneh Esrei, Mekol Mokim Gam Ha'achana L'Tfilas Hamida, also the preparation for Shemoneh Esrei. We're saying Az Yashir before Hashem, especially the song part of davening. Inyan Klali B'Tfilah, song is a general idea in davening. Why is song a general idea in davening? Song is one of the 10 names and types and levels of davening. So what do we say? Oz Yashir, Lashon Osir, that then we will sing. It's in the future tense. Hainu, this means Shekvar Ato, already now. Yesh Etzli Me'ein V'Dugmas Yashir, Lashon Osir. He has clarity to Yashir in the future tense. Hashira de La Osid, the future song. Mikivin Shagam Avedosei Atay B'Matzav Oifishal Geulah. Since his avodah now is in a state and manner of Geulah, so he could live now in a state of Geulah. Right now, he's experiencing a state of Geulah. He's living with the Geulah then. That's why he's saying now the Shira, which hints at the Mashiach of Mashiach's times. According to this, we could explain another idea. Hashaych is the Bias HaMashiach V'Geulah Asida B'Torah Halacha B'Torah. The connection of the coming of Mashiach and the future redemption as a halacha in Torah. And the Rebbe is a great proponent, a great advocate of connecting every aspect of the most esoteric parts of Torah in like the most down-to-earth part of Torah. The most down-to-earth and most practical part of Torah is halacha. Sometimes people especially outside of the people that are not familiar with Chassidus. And they hear a vart of Chassidus, so they say, it's a nice drush, it's a nice drosha type of word, it's a nice drosha type of concept. The Rebbe refuses to make this type of distinction. And the Rebbe always wants to concretize and make something connected with the most solid part of the Torah. The most solid part of the Torah is the halacha part of the Torah. The halacha part of the Torah is the most concrete. And that's why the Rebbe always tries to find things the way they're in the Rambam, the way they're practical halacha, and so on. Torah in Yana Hara. Torah's the last paragraph on the page. The Torah's idea is a lesson. Something that's applicable to and matters for the person's service. Seemingly, since the coming of Mashiach and the future redemption is an idea of a reward. If it's a reward, it's not about what we have to do. It's only something that's going to happen afterwards. Like it says, today you need to do. And tomorrow, the proverbial tomorrow, will be to receive a reward. So therefore, one could say, there's no connection between Geulah and Bias HaMashiach with Torah as a lesson for us, Torah as a halacha that has to do with Maisa, with action, with applicable things that we have to do in our day-to-day avoid. The Rebbe says, the explanation in this is not that way. That we're saying really, like we said before, this is not just a reward that's going to be comes. Rather, that this reward is also applicable to the avoid itself. The very knowledge and awareness of the reward, Geulah that we know about this reward of the true and complete redemption, it affects that he should be able to do his service in a manner of redemption. If he wouldn't be aware of the reward, if he wouldn't be focused on the reward, he wouldn't be focused on the Geulah. So now when he's doing his avodah, he wouldn't be doing his avodah in a way of Geulah dika type of way. And since in halacha l'mais, in practical, he needs to do his avodah now in a way of Geulah, so therefore he needs to be focused on the Geulah. For this reason, the ultimate perfection of the idea of reward, the knowledge of it, what is not necessary for the perfect avodah these days. Loinis parish b'Torah was not explained in the Torah. Loinis galafil and Nevi'im was not even revealed to the Nevi'im. Ayin loiros alakim zol sechet says that the eye has not perceived the reward of Mashiach's times except for you. So in other words, there's a component, there's the aspect of the reward which we could imagine, and we do know what it's about based on what it says in Torah, based on what it says in Nevi'im, based on what it says in the Rambam, and so on. Then there is such an ultimate level of reward which wasn't revealed to us, because that ultimate level of reward does not matter for our avodah now. So that's why certain parts dealing with the reward that have an impact on the way we're doing our avodah now, that we should do our avodah in a Geulah dika way, that was revealed to us now. And other aspects remain hidden and we'll only know when Mashiach comes. Oizvav, Omnam li'idach yisa, but on the other hand, along with the fact, with the perfection of our avodah in a manner of redemption, there's also the looking forward to and the request and the demand from the depths of our heart to the true and complete redemption. We're not just saying, okay, I'm living the Geulah, so why am I crying for it? This is not contradictory. Move on v'gam pashut, it's understood and it's obvious. Shematzav ha'geula b'yachas l'shleimus ha'avoida efsharis b'zman hazeh, the state of redemption in comparison or how it relates to the perfect type of service that's possible these days, Eina be'erech klal u'klal l'shleimus ha'avoida shetia begula ha'mitis v'ha'shleima, is not comparable whatsoever to the perfect service that's going to be in the coming Geulah, the true and complete Geulah. In other words, when I am now doing my avodah in a way of Geulah the Kavodah, I'm living a Geulah mindset with that entire state of being. It's incomparable to the actual Geulah that we will experience then. So therefore, it's not comparable to go ahead and say, well, you're living Geulah anyway. Why are you looking forward to the Geulah? Why are you hoping? Why are you demanding for the Geulah? Because as much as we're living Geulah now, it's nothing like the Geulah that will be then. And then the Rebbe points it out in different components. This is a given that obviously there's no comparison when we're talking about mitzvahs that we cannot do now. If there's mitzvahs we cannot do now, like korbanos, like keeping the laws of Shemitah, keeping the laws of Yovel, of the Jubilee, that's obviously, as much as I'm living a Geulah life now, there's no comparison to when I will actually have those mitzvahs then. But even the mitzvahs that are seemingly going to be the same, it's still going to be incomparable. I feel going to get even concerning mitzvahs, that their fulfillment is these days as well. There is no comparison, even when I fulfill them in a Geulah state of mind, to the way I will be doing them when Mashiach comes. Since that is the case, the ultimate perfection in the manner of redemption from all matters that are disturbing him, which is the idea of a Geulah mindset, like we say, that I'm completely putting myself in a state of mind that I have no focus and not paying attention to anything that's disrupting my avodah. To the degree how much it's possible to put out and to remove all disturbances from my mind and to do a service similar to Mashiach's times. This is not a contradiction whatsoever to looking forward to and the request and the demand that the true and complete redemption should come through Mashiach, take it from Yad immediately. Then the avodah that we will do then will be in an unbelievably incomparable higher level than it would have been, or the way it is now, even in a Geulah mindset. Let's skip over to the next page. It says, concerning our situation, matzav hagolus, the state of exile that we are in now, since it's only a temporary thing, like we said before, based on a pasuk in Yeshaya Novi, it's called a rega cotton. It's only a small moment. This is the considered, which the Rebbe mentioned in the previous paragraphs. It's called a passing blemish. That a passing blemish for a kohen is not considered a blemish that invalidates him from his service. There are those matters of a service of the kohen in the Beis Hamikdash that concerning that type of avodah, this is not considered a blemish. When it comes to those things, there are things that a person can do now because it's like a blemish that's passing. It's like the Geulah is just going to be going away, so he could stay in a state of, he could maintain a Geulah mindset. But again, he's referring to something he said before. There's such types of avoida that, comparison to that, even a passing blemish is considered a blemish. The time of Geulah, even though it's like a passing blemish, it's only a short moment, but it's still considered a lack in the avoida. We're not going to be able to do the avoida the way it was going to be done in the time of the Geulah. Since we are lacking the perfection of that avodah, it is great, the looking forward and the yearning and the request and the demand to the true and complete redemption. Only then can he do his avodah and the ultimate perfection in all matters. So he says in Excerpt, what is derived from all that is said before concerning actuality, practicality, standing in the month, Shabbos, blessing the month of El. This is the appropriate time to inspire and to encourage and to make people more advanced about the special avodah that's connected to the month of El. Like we said before, it's Chodesh HaTshuva, the month of Tshuva. Or Prati is even more specifically, to add with more strength and more power, in all the three lines of Torah Avodah and doing acts of kindness, prefacing with Shuva, and also the idea of redemption, Kanal Baruch, like we said before at length. This, in addition to this, because of the command that you shall love your fellow as yourself, like it says, it's a great rule of the Torah. A person needs to put an effort to influence also another in all the above mentioned matters. In all the things are the Rosh Tevis of Elul, Torah, Avodah, Chasadim, Tshuva, and Geulah. Like the well-known expression, you have to be candles to illuminate. In the idea of being a candle to illuminate, it's also included that our effect on another is in such a manner that when I am a candle to illuminate, I don't just light another candle, but what happens when one candle lights another candle? Now that candle illuminates others. So I need to not just illuminate another Yid, but make that other Yid be a candle to illuminate other Yidden. And so too, further and further down the line, like a literal candle that illuminates, that you kindle one candle from another candle till you've lit up the entire world. Appropriate, and in this vein, one needs to make well known the above mentioned ideas every single place. Through this will be added in all the activities of spreading Torah and Yiddishkeit until and including the spreading of the wellsprings, meaning the wellsprings of Chassidus, gam bechutza, even outward, until the outward, that there's nothing even further out than that. Moving, and it's understood, all the above mentioned matters are applicable to every single Yid, in whatever state and situation he may be. And the Rebbe gives an example of someone that was very good. That it says that when he comes to Bezdin Shalmaila, they will not just demand of him about the big things, but they will eventually demand of him, and he will need to go through purification, even for things like Eid of Tafshilin. So let's skip over to 4 lines from the bottom of the page. And this is also understood from the other side. When he fulfills this mitzvah, that being in his whatever state and situation, even before he has repaired his soul completely, Hashem does not withhold the reward of every creation. How much more so in our generations that Hashem does not withhold the reward. Even if there are those in this generation that are far from Torah and its mitzvahs. It's only because they are children, babies that were taken into captivity and didn't know any better. Since that is the case, surely surely one needs to influence them and to affect them in all the above mentioned matters. Yet okay, no, we'll stop over here. The rest of this we'll leave for hopefully the Simcha Shir.